Good morning, YouTube and the internet. So I'm recording at the moment. I've been in the garage for about 3 hours now working on a single lifter. If you're going to watch this video, make sure you watch it all the way. I'm going to leave in the mistakes. I've incorrectly assembled these, or this one. But there's still a lot of good information in there, and it's part of the learning experience. So what I'm about to do is disassemble this one again and do it properly. But you should watch all the way through, and just make sure that you watch to the end so you can see the rectification of the mistake I make. Good morning, YouTube and the internet. Today I'm rebuilding the hydraulic lifters. These lifters here I've done as a practice. I've got spares. So the first one I picked, I couldn't get it to separate. I thought I was doing it wrong, so after about half an hour trying, I went and grabbed another one out of my spare parts bucket over there, and it came apart straight away, and then so did the second one. So what I've got here, I've got them at two different stages of separation, so as I remember what order everything goes back together. It's just a simple visual aid to help me figure out what I'm doing. So all I'm doing is stripping them, cleaning them, reassembling them, and then they're ready to go back in the engine. This is how I've kept them separated, the exhaust side, intake side, ever since they came out of the car, out of the head. So here we have our dirty lifter, and it's going to stay dirty for now. We've got a brake rotor, a sheet of aluminium, and some tripled over rag. Seems to work pretty good. You've got to have something that won't damage the edge of the lifter, but at the same time doesn't spring so much that you can't get the center free. So I'm going to try this one-handed now. This is fairly violent. You've got to do it pretty hard. Boom, first go. So it's lifted up pretty much level with this. I've got these pliers here. Just gently grab, twist and pull. It should work its way out very slowly. Okay, so now we have, let me get my placing rag. The bucket, and there's something in there which I'll show you in a second. This is the lifter. Can't compress it because it's full of oil. And in here is sort of like a cover or a cap or a protector or an impact. I don't know what. It doesn't really clip on to the lifter like you might think. It sort of just sits there, so assembling them I think is an issue with this. I think I've got a technique to sort it out, but time will tell. So this should, if you just wipe the oil off, just pull apart by hand. There we go. And here is a spring. We'll leave that as it is. Oh, you fucking son of a bitch. You do not want to go doing that. Now this bit here had me a bit worried. This ball valve cover or ball valve assembly snaps in place. So just with the pliers, two sides, squeeze it. You need a decent grip and just pull it out. Careful. It's almost come out. You probably can't see. It just snaps in. Oh yeah, it has actually come apart. So in here is a spring. Extremely small, easy to lose spring. That's no doubt out of focus. That lives in there. And the ball bearing, which sits there. That makes up your valve. That's the mainspring. So here we have all the components of a hydraulic lifter. Now we're just going to clean it and then reassemble. So to clean it, I'm going to use thinners or whatever I can find. There's no rubbers or anything in here, so oh, there's one more component which I haven't actually tried to take out yet. It's this snap ring that keeps the assembly together, and I don't know if I have anything fine enough to get this out. Try something else to get under there. Sort of know where I can get under it. I'm going to try and get under the end. It pushes around. This bung finger is not making life any easier. You should probably be wearing gloves, nitrile rubber obviously, but extremely fine work. Here we go. I've got this clip starting to come out. I need to be able to feel it. So if I'm wearing gloves, I can't do that. There we go. Snap ring removed. So now we have all the components separated. Bloody hell. Let's get that magnet out of there before something sticks to it and I lose it. There's all the bits, all laid out. It's going to take me a long time. It's taken me maybe 5 minutes to disassemble that one. We have 24 of them, so and I haven't even cleaned it yet. That's just disassembling it. But I'll get cleaning. I'll get to cleaning now. So what I've got here, some white spirit, and we are now going to very carefully place each component in there. Ball bearing, spring, so tiny, spring cap, mainspring, body, the clip, the end of it, whatever the fucking purpose that serves. It's a nice clean new rags here. And for this, I'm just going to take some, swish it around in there, and then plunk that in. So we're going to give that some time to soak and clean, and then we'll reassemble it. Okay, so we've given these parts some time. Look at that, that's stuck to that. Careful, you don't lose stuff. I've just got a paintbrush, get in there, clean that out. And a bit of toothbrush action for the larger, more accessible area outside here. Make sure these are perfectly clean. Make sure that little hole on the top is clean because that bleeds oil. And the groove on the side. Hole on the side. Clean rag. Get down inside it. As always, the cleaner the part, the better the result. So, there's a bucket groove is clean. Without scratching it. Paintbrush. Clean down inside it. Basically all the small parts there, so I might as well just leave them here now, except the spring. There it is. How good are magnets? Ball bearing. Definitely couldn't see that in my hand. Pop that in there. This micro spring. And the cap, valve cap, ball cap, whatever you want to call it. Using this little valve needle, pushing the rag into it. Okay. All our bits are clean now. I'm going to give this a blaster there. Nowhere near the bench, so as I don't blow this spring away. And this. And this. None of the other parts need to be blasted with air because there's nowhere really for the any grit or anything to be trapped. So let's begin the reassembly process. We need some oil. This is the engine oil that will be running it, so this is what we use. So how does this go together again? Oh, that's right, that's why you're watching. We take this part, we take this cap, we turn it upside down, we put our micro spring in here. I reckon you can't even see that on the camera, it's so small. Put our ball bearing on top of that. We put this on a hard surface off the rag, and this snaps into place where you can see it. Get a spring vertical. Son of a bitch. There we go. Just push it down to center it. And then taking this, looking down through the center, I line up the center of the ball bearing with a hole. I find it makes it easiest using two hands. Push down. It should clip in. It hasn't. Let's try again. There we go. Now, what's happened here is this bit's clipped in, this side's clipped in, but this one here hasn't. So get something soft, so like this here, plastic scraper. Push it in. There we go. It's now in place. So that's that component assembled. Now we want to put our ring back on the main body. Find the split in it. There it is. Carefully. It's in place. Now we need some oil. Just to lubricate this as it goes in. Bit off my fingers. Put our spring in. Vertically in the middle. There we go. And this goes in this way, and it's a very tight fit. Once you get it vertical, it will slide in like so, and it will resist. Just push it in slowly and see how it pops back up. So now what we do is put the oil in there now. So I really didn't think through how to pour this oil, did I? There you go, syringe. Come on. Okay, so now with that full of oil, you want to depress the valve, the bore valve, let the air escape, push this down, keep holding the bore valve and let it release, and then put some more oil in there. It may take a few attempts to get all the air out. So push it down, depress the valve. I don't know if you can see, but there's bubbles coming out of it whenever I get the valve down. And while holding the valve down, let it release back up. And now it won't compress at all, so all the air's out of the chamber and she's full of oil. So just give that a couple more. Okay, and now we do want a little bit of oil in here just to lubricate it and protect it. And this is the bit that scares me, because you've got this item here which sort of goes on there, but it doesn't stay. There's nothing that keeps it in place. So everyone I see putting this in puts it in like that, or pops this in, but there's no way to guarantee that that sits in there. So what I've done on the practice ones is stand that up that way and then place this over the top. Is it the right way around? Yes, it is. Once everything's lined up, you should just be able to push this down and then push it up in underneath. Yep, no rattles, no noises, one incompressible hydraulic lifter, and we're done. That lifter is rebuilt, ready to go back into service. That many to go. It won't take me as long to do the others because I won't be sitting here explaining it, and I'll do more than one at once. So while one's soaking, I'll strip the other one. Once it's stripped, I'll rebuild one and put the strip bits into the white spirit to clean it. So yeah, that's rebuilding a hydraulic lifter for an RB25. Probably the most technical thing I've done on the channel so far, I think. So I hope you enjoyed it. And now I've got like 2 hours to do the rest of these because I'm going out tonight. Well, off camera I just double checked that that was all the way seated, and it wasn't. And now I've gone and let air into here, so I'll show you how to double check it. It's seated. Once I put the oil back in let the air back out of here. This time that little end bit is in there, but it is centered, so let's give that a crack. Now, if that's seated all the way, you should not be able to just pull it out with pliers, which I can, and that was a test I did. So I don't know why or how I can't get this to seat. I did on the test ones. This is exactly how I did it, and it worked. This little snap ring should just go past the bottom there, so obviously it's not going down far enough. But it sounds good, and it feels like it's all the way in. Let me do a test on one that I haven't cracked and see if I can pull this one out with just the pliers. No. Let's get one here that's virgin. Looks to me like this one's still sticking up a little bit. Or maybe not. No, it's coming out. Alright. There's something missing here. We do not want it going back together like that. I don't know why this is being a pain in the ass. Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know, maybe leave the air in the fucking thing. Take the oil out. So I was hoping to avoid having to soak them in oil, but this may be a necessary step. So let's reassemble that again. It may need the compressibility to get down in there. Without it, the clip isn't going far enough in. Okay, that one's all the way in. You can definitely feel the difference. Yeah, and I can't get the tyres on because you can't when they're in all the way. So, when it's got the oil in it, it won't go in far enough. So, now I'm going to have to soak these in oil for the next week or so as they absorb it. That way it'll, you know, there'll be oil inside it and then it'll bleed itself out in the first couple of seconds, hopefully. But that wasn't the plan. I wanted to pre-fill them, but I can't because, yeah, it's preventing it from going in far enough to snap into place. But, cool. It is what it is. Just got to find something to fill with oil and put these in. Okay, after doing this wrong a couple of times and lots of time researching and double checking SAU forums and build forums and videos and engine builder forums, it does say that the lifter should be completely incompressible when installed. So this is what I'm going to do. Get you in there. However, it did say to fill this 2 or 3 millimeters short of the top with oil. About 2 millimeters short of the top. Then place this in here. And it will not compress. So then, only one time, by holding that down, push that in, release the ball valve, and that should be it. Sorry, you did have to compress the spring. Release the ball valve, let the oil run in there by itself, and that's it. No more pumping. Done that, and this should be incompressible, which it is. Place a cap on here, like so. Make sure there's no grit or dirt or anything odd in there stopping me from getting this down. Nothing on the top of that, nope. Now, none of them mention checking it to see if you can pull it out. That's my concern. If that goes in and doesn't align correctly, we're going to have problems. So it's definitely how they say to do it, but I need confirmation from a more reliable source, because yeah, I'll be able to pull this out for sure. Yep, so that ring is not going past where it should. That's as far in as it's going to go, but that's not right, because I can pull it out. So I did double check the service manual, it's silent on the matter. So, well, it's easy enough to disassemble and clean them. Reassembly seems to be a bit tricky. Let's try one of the other ones here that I haven't cleaned. Let's try reassembling this one. Just fill that with oil. So I haven't pulled this one apart or anything. Well, actually I have, but I haven't cleaned it. Push it down to the bottom of the spring. Release slowly. Incompressible. Where did that come from? Did I just assemble that without it in there? Is that off this one? It's off this one. I will double check, I'll pull that one apart again. So, come on you bastard. Not lined up. Try and pull it out. Yep, it's the same. So I haven't damaged the ring or anything like that. Why does this always have to happen to me? Okay, what I just did with this one is using the vise, and I'll assemble this other spare the same way actually. I'll show you what it did. I'm not recommending this, and I'm going to go and speak to some people before finalising this, but just slowing this bad boy back together. compressible. Yep. Bang, bang. Slip that on there. Getting pretty quick at this. Make sure that's all lined up. Oh. So this is the same. Yep, I can pull it out. I'm not going to. So what I've just done as an experiment on one of these that I'm not using is in the vise, using a soft adapter, just compressing it and being worried it's going to pop out and hit me in the face. I'm pulling it apart, and voila, it's in. I can't pull it out. I know I can't pull it out. I can only pull it out if I can get hold of it. And if it's in all the way, I can't get hold of it with these. So that is in. And it rotates freely, so the clip's all the way in. It'll just snap together. I can pull it out. So it may be right on the edge of going over that clip. Now I'm going to ring an engine builder I know and just confirm that technique before proceeding any further. So I could easily cut this up to make it look like I know what I'm doing and get it right every time, first time. But that's not being honest. It's the first time I've rebuilt these, so I'm learning and I'm just showing you what I'm learning. Yeah. Good luck, I'll get a response quickly. I can't see any reason why that's a bad idea. I'll put something a bit better than just that rag on the vise to protect it, but yeah, as long as we don't damage it pushing it together. It's going to take a bigger beating than that in the engine itself from the cams. So these are my spares, and this is my rebuilt number 1. Let me go make a phone call. What I'm about to do is disassemble this one again and do it properly, but you should watch all the way through and just make sure that you watch to the end so you can see the rectification of the mistake I make. So basically, when I was bleeding these and making them incompressible, that's not what you want to do. You want them compressible, which will then allow the circlip past the point in here. They will bleed the air out in operation. So pull it apart. You still want oil, obviously it needs to be lubricated, but I've just poured the oil out. And let's go again. Push as much air out as we want or can. Now they're compressible. That in there. Push it in there. Now, once you've done that and you've assembled it, this is where you're going to soak it in oil. Now, you soak it in oil will fill the valve, the lifter body with oil, so when it does start up, it's got oil to pull into the valve and displace the air immediately. So that's how you do it. I'm sorry about not being perfect first time, but who is? Like I said, it's all part of the learning experience. There is some different information out there. Some people do what I did here and compress it and push the lifter all the way in. But the most recommended and common sense way seems to be just allow the air to stay in there and bleed it out on startup. You won't first start a new build without building oil pressure first anyway, so it should bleed out pretty quickly. But that's that. That's one lifter rebuilt. The reason why you don't want the lifter to be incompressible is you may be pushing the valve open when it should be closed. If this is already too tall to start with, it's not going to compress the oil out. It's going to push the valve into the combustion chamber. So you, at best, will have a very poorly running car, and at worst, it's an interference engine. You could smack a valve on the top of a piston. So this is why I've taken a few hours to look at exactly why I would do it the way I've done it. So I will really quickly now do one start to finish, I think, and yeah, we'll go with that. Now I'm going to number this. That's number one. In a minute I'll just put it there. These are my spares. So lifter number 2. Remove excess oil. Give it a smack, pops up. Gently grab this, don't score it. Pull out the lifter. Get a solvent ready. Take this cap thing out. Disassemble the lifter itself. Don't lose your spring. I hope you saw all of that. I've got you on wide angle. With as dry as hands as you can. Pinch and remove the retainer on the end carefully. Might get bigger pliers. Go with needle nose on the side. Alright, now I'll try this. There we go. Do not lose the tiny spring in there, the ball bearing that goes with it, and that's that component. So soak all the bits. While that's soaking, I'll start number 3. Smack, pull, remove, come back here, separate, You know what I didn't do? I didn't take that ring off the other one. It's alright, I'll do that in a sec. Separate. Don't lose your spring. Go back to this one. Wrong piece. Just got to be careful, there's flat sides on it. I could see this breaking quite easily if you're not careful. Because it jams at the flat side, so you've got to get under it. Pop it out, there we go. Ring. I could see myself ending up with stitches before the end of this job. So what I'll do is pop these components in the empty lid. What the fuck? Fuck, it was in there. It's a miracle that didn't fly off somewhere when I shook that. Okay. Spring. Baby spring. Ball bearing. Push it down. Centered. Right, I just dropped it and it fell apart. So I'm going to be sacrificing another lifter for a spring and a ball bearing. Lucky I've got spares. You probably don't. Actually found the ball bearing. I swept the floor with the magnet, found the ball bearing, the spring. Extreme care needs to be taken with these. It's alright, I forgot to blow these out anyway. Excellent. So here's where we went wrong before, and here's where we're going to get it right first time. Now we will fill this within 2 or 3 millimeters of the top. Now you're thinking, oh no, but it's not going to spring. Bear with me. Get that covered in oil. Goes that way. Now the reason we do that is to test it. It is incompressible. Now we'll pull it apart. And just let the oil run out while leaving most of it. Yeah, there's still plenty of oil there for lubrication. For assembly, repeat the process. Place a little doober on there. Still want to oil in here for lubrication again. There's got to be a better idea than that, like this should clip on or something, but that is what it is. Square and true. Not square and true. Boom, it's in. Number 2 done, and number 3 should have been soaking while I did all that. So fucking hell, sat on my airline. So that's how we clean our lifters, and we soak them in oil so as the body fills with oil, so the oil's there for it to replace the air straight away. They'll tick for a few seconds on startup, and then that noise should go away, and that should be fine. So because it's taken me so long to confirm and double check everything to the point that I've got it, that I'm happy. Let's get some oil on this one right now while I'm here. I actually have to go out, so unfortunately I'm not going to finish this job today. I will assemble that third lifter and then have a shower and go out. Finish this tomorrow. Let you know how I go.